Hey Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into today's Philadelphia Eagles news and rumor video on a Monday. And we need to jump into this Bleacher Report article that surfaced this weekend that has one trade every single NFL team should go ahead and make in the offseason. And so it doesn't necessarily guarantee any of this is going to happen, but it's kind of ridiculous who they say Philadelphia should go ahead and move off of their football team. You see it on your screen right now, Brandon Graham. Yes, so Bleacher Report, again, is saying that the Tennessee Titans should be the team to go ahead and trade for pass rusher Brandon Graham from Philadelphia. And you sit there and you go, geez, this is a very bizarre article, which is why we're breaking it down today here on the channel. Now, it's kind of interesting because BG just came off of his best year in Philadelphia. Now, not statistically, but I think overall from a leadership standpoint and a statistical standpoint, he had a fantastic 2020 in Philadelphia. It rewarded him with the one-year extension to go ahead and sign him through this year. Bleacher Report's reason for Graham being the trade target is cap relief for the Eagles because they need cap relief right now, but they don't. It's very strange. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw up on the screen right now the Bleacher Report article write-up on the idea of trading Brandon Graham to the Tennessee Titans. Throw it up on the screen. Quote, another veteran added that doesn't cost a ton to bring over via trade could make some sense. Brandon Graham to the Philadelphia Eagles just inked a one-year extension for cap relief purposes, but could always move if the team is comfortable with Ryan Kerrigan taking over his role. Graham, a consistent presence since joining the league in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft, has 16 sacks for the last two seasons and enters his age 33 season without a drop-off in sight. The price is right. He'd boost the rotation in Tennessee. End quote. Okay, we'll break that down in just 1 second. First, though, is trading Graham stupid? Like, this is dumb, right? Like, trading Brandon Graham would be a very dumb thing for Philadelphia to do this offseason. If you agree with me, type Y down below for yes. If you disagree and actually think they should trade Brandon Graham, tell me why and type N down below for no. Okay, the couple of key points here in this quote from this article. One, Brandon Graham has not had any sort of slip-off since turning 30. He's now 33 years old, and he still is dominating from a defensive end perspective. Look at these numbers last year. I mean, these are very, very good. This is elite-level, Pro Bowl caliber defensive ends numbers with 8 total sacks, 16 quarterback hits. That's a big number, and 46 total tackles. So when you look at the fact that, oh, well, the Eagles should go ahead and trade him for cap relief to go ahead and, they'll be fine at defensive end, you read these numbers and you say, why would you want to get rid of a guy who has 8 sacks last year, plus is a big-time, let me say this again, big-time leader in your locker room. Now, the counter argument is as follows. Look at this depth chart. It's pretty good. Like, the Eagles have plenty of pass rushers overall. You have Josh Sweat, you have Derek Barnett, you have Ryan Kerrigan, 3 guys who would go ahead and fill the gap if you were to go ahead and move off of Brandon Graham. And so I guess that would be the one main argument against, or I should say for, trading away Brandon Graham. But even then, you want as many pass rushers as you could possibly have. Like, okay, here's the deal. There's no need to trade Brandon Graham. There is literally no need to go ahead and do this because, again, they don't need any sort of cap relief because they're on a one-year deal. So if you were to free up money, you're just going to have extra money, which you have to go, I guess, and spend elsewhere. But who are you going to go ahead and trade for, right? There isn't a name out there Philadelphia needs to go ahead and grab. Plus, let's say you get a third-round draft pick for Brandon Graham. Do you need another third-round draft pick? You know how many draft picks Philadelphia has next year? It's not like they are desperate for draft picks. They have no draft picks in 2022, and they got to get some sort of extra draft picks. They're fine. Like, they have absolutely no need to go ahead and trade away Brandon Graham. I think right now, Philadelphia is trying to go ahead and recreate the 2017 Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, which had, like they said, addition of Ryan Kerrigan and Chris Long to be a rotational guy to come in there and spell Brandon Graham. And then, of course, you have Derek Barnett and Josh Sweat alongside Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave. I mean, this is a pass rush that is going to be top 5 in the National Football League, might even be the best pass rush in the National Football League. And what does Philadelphia need? With a very poor secondary and a number 2 cornerback slot that is in very much question, in question very much right now, the more pass rush you have, the more quarterback hits you get, the much easier it is to go ahead and be a secondary defensive back player on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, so again, trading Graham makes no sense. I will counter with this Bleacher Report article, another one, there's like another one in here, there's a lot of Bleacher Report articles today, but I'll counter with this. If you do want to go ahead and trade one of the Eagle pass rushers, trade Derek Barnett. Barnett would make way more sense. Listen to this. Okay, Bleacher Report throws this up there. Quote, such a veteran might be the aforementioned Barnett, who could always be available now that the Eagles have Ryan Kerrigan in town. He's only going into his age 25 season, but has 19.5 sacks over 4 seasons. So the Saints, this is the team they trade for, could buy in on the idea he'll blossom further next to names like Cameron Jordan. Granted, the Saints use a first-round draft pick on pass rushing help with Peyton Turner, but hedging the rookie bet with a low-cost, high-upside move isn't the worst idea for a team that wants to keep contending, end quote. Barnett makes way more sense in terms of trading, right? You don't want the reason you don't trade Graham from just an overall standpoint, he's the leader in that in the locker room, a leader of that football team, and a big-time leader on that defense. Barnett is not. And Barnett, again, like Graham, is entering the final year of his deal and really hasn't performed up to the level of an expected first-round draft pick as he was a couple of years ago. And listen, Josh Sweat is coming. I mean, it's probably Josh Sweat's season this year. I mean, Josh Sweat has got to be the guy, I think, starting on the other side of Brandon Graham this year. And so if you did want to go ahead and trade one of your pass rushers, why not go ahead and get rid of Derek Barnett and go ahead and just keep Josh Sweat on one side, Brandon Graham on the other side, and then Ryan Kerrigan can be the rotational guy, much like, as we always say, Chris Long was during the 2017 season. I trade Derek Barnett for a third-round draft pick right now. Like, I would do it right now. The Saints wanted to call. The Titans wanted to call. I would go ahead and move him instantly because the odds of the Philadelphia Eagles keeping Derek Barnett past this year are very slim. He's in the final year of his 5-year rookie contract. He's making about $10 million a year this year. And the idea that you have to give him a big extension in the offseason after he had a very subpar 2020, to me, says they're going to let him walk into free agency. Unless, and this is a big if, Derek Barnett does play well this year. Like, if Derek Barnett pops off and has 8 to 9 sacks, then they should go ahead and re-sign him. But that's a big if right now for a guy who's had injury issues. And again, his best year really was his rookie year. 5.5 sacks last year, not terrible. Again, we appreciate it. I think it would be a good rotational guy this year. But if you really want to go ahead and trade somebody, I would go ahead and move off of Derek Barnett. And if you get a third-round draft pick for Derek Barnett, I don't think he's even worth that much. But that's what, of course, Bleacher Report was citing here in terms of a potential trade with the Saints. If they somehow get a third-round draft pick and are able to move Barnett, I will be all for that. I would give it a thumbs up. Okay, answer this question down below. Should the Eagles trade one of their defensive ends? Any one of them. And again, they won't trade Kerrigan because they just signed Kerrigan. So I guess Graham, Sweat, or Barnett. I think we all can agree Barnett's the guy. But should they trade one of them? Type Y down below for yes. If not, then go ahead and type N down below for no. Okay, before we go ahead and keep going here, I want to give a quick shout out to the Newsbreak app, which is taking the Apple App Store and, of course, the Android Google Play Store by storm right now. If you have not downloaded the Newsbreak app, you're missing out on a one-stop shop for all the different local news, whether sports and politics, you could possibly want at the touch of a button. So, download the Newsbreak app right now. chatsports.com/EaglesNB is the link you put up in Google or down below in our description box. Download the app and then just put in your zip code and search for any different news outlets or weather outlets or sports outlets you want to follow, and it all gets populated into your one simple news feed. You also follow us, Eagles, at Chat Sports or Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Search for that on the Newsbreak app, and all of our Eagle videos will pop up there as well. But again, go download the app right now, chatsports.com/EaglesNB. I want to get into another story here today on our Eagles news and rumor video. It has to do with Trevon Grimes. Now, you remember Trevon Grimes, right? Undrafted free agent out of Florida, big, tall, physical wide receiver. All of us were like, ooh, what a free agent steal here. He didn't get drafted. You signed him on a very cheap contract. He might compete for a roster spot. You remember we had that whole video, whole argument on that a couple of weeks ago. Well, our hopes and dreams of Trevon Grimes were crushed on June 9th when the Eagles went ahead and waived him for injury reasons. So essentially, they cut him, and it was like, all right, well, guess he wasn't that good. See ya, and then we just moved on. Well, I did some digging and found some pretty interesting research here in terms of the fact that Grimes is actually still an Eagle, which if you think, like, it's great, how, Thomas? Let me explain. So, they waived him again due to medical issues, due to a knee issue that hasn't fully healed yet, although he's going to be okay for the start of the season. However, when you put him on the waiver wire, every single team has a chance to claim him off of waivers, and when nobody claimed him, the Eagles just then took him back and put him on injured reserve, meaning he's going to be an Eagle, but is also not going to be a part of the 90-man roster that you have right now going into training camp. So, the Eagles have officially, again, moved him to injured reserve, which essentially means that he has a future in Philadelphia and can still be a part of the team and a part of the organization by not being on the 90-man roster. So, if he gets healthy in time for training camp, then he could go ahead and possibly compete as we were originally hoping that he would when Philadelphia signed him as an undrafted free agent. Now, why are we so excited about Trevon Grimes? And again, a lot of Eagle blog writers and Eagle commentators and Eagle people who cover them in the media like I do like Grimes because he's essentially an open and direct competition to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Like, this is a guy who is very similar in size, very similar in what he's supposed to do, be a big red zone target, a deep threat guy who could either A, push Whiteside to finally be as good as the number 2 or second round draft pick he was supposed to be, or he's going to go ahead and take that spot. And listen, I know we all want Whiteside to go ahead and win win a roster spot and win the job and be good because you did spend a second round draft pick on him, and so obviously that's important, right? However, it would be nice to go ahead and get some competition and get the best player available. I think Fulgham, is probably going to go ahead and be your big, tall wide receiver. That's the expectation. But to have a second one, whether it is Whiteside or Trevon Grimes, I think is going to be important overall for Philadelphia. So the important thing here, again, is that Grimes is not officially gone. He has to get healthy, and we don't know the exact extent of that knee issue. It's not like any sort of crazy thing like an ACL or anything like that. It's just kind of a knee injury that they are not able to get right just yet. And we're at a time right now in the offseason where because no one claimed him off of waivers, you can just sit him down on the IR, as we talked about, and kind of let him heal while still being in the organization and still giving him a chance to go ahead and make the roster when it is all said and done. So I am pumped about this. Again, there is no guarantee that he will, in the end, make the roster because he could still get healthy and then, just like whatever, let him go. The Eagles, obviously, as we saw on the depth chart, have a lot of young receivers, and Hightower and Watkins and Whiteside, who are all going to be competing for one of those final 6 or 7 wide receiver spots on the 53-man roster. But it is at least a little bit exciting that he is not officially gone forever, and nobody claimed him, and so there's still a chance to go ahead and get back to the Trevon Grimes dream that all of us have here in Philadelphia. Now, we're going to end. Drop a like if you guys think that Grimes will eventually make the Eagles roster. Maybe not active roster, maybe practice squad. Either one would be fine with me. Drop a like down below if you guys agree that he will probably have a very good chance of making this roster. All right, ultimately for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Again, before we end, make sure you guys are subscribed. We approach 20,000 subs on the channel. We got plenty more Eagles news and rumor videos upcoming in the coming days and weeks. So again, go down below and make sure you guys are subscribed. Again, for Philadelphia Eagles Now, I'm Thomas Mott. We sign off. Enjoy the rest of your day.